Hello everybody, this is a very exciting video to make as it's the review of my experience seeing Oasis on their big reunion tour. I was fortunate to see them this past weekend at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, August the 31st, night one of their two-night stay. Sold out crowd, massive crowd, tens of thousands of people swarming the streets of New Jersey and New York on the subway system and the buses to get to see the Gallagher brothers do their thing. This has been a long time coming for me. As you recall, on my previous video, I kind of talked about waiting a long time to see Oasis. I've had this ticket now since last August or early September of last year, and was very, very excited to do this trip. Was able to go to New York a few days early. My wife and I left Friday after we both finished work. Got up to New York, got to New Jersey. We stayed in Secaucus, New Jersey, about a 7 or 8 minute drive to MetLife. Spent the day in New York City on Saturday, about half the day Sunday, and then around 4 o'clock. I made my way to East Rutherford to MetLife. Now, to say this was a huge event is an understatement. Again, Oasis were only playing a few shows in the United States, only 3 cities. They came to Chicago. They did East Rutherford, just finished that up last night, and then they're going to head to Los Angeles. This was something that I never thought I was going to be able to see. What's the Story, Morning Glory, Oasis' second album, is a top 10 record for me. And the fact that these guys were doing the majority of that album in the set list was huge. I'm like, I get to see some of my favorite songs ever performed by the two brothers, Liam and Noel Gallagher. Fantastic. So, again, get there. I'm in the 300 level. The stage is miles from my seat, but it was still cool to be in that room, to be in that arena with them, stadium, if you will. They had two openers. They had a group called Cast from Liverpool, and then they also had American band Cage the Elephant as the second opener. Didn't know anything about Cast. Cage the Elephant I only knew of very, very, very moderately. I've got a couple friends who are big fans of theirs. They had a big following there. There were lots of people singing the songs, dancing. I saw people in Cage the Elephant shirts that were, doing the whole fan thing. So they played an 11-song set. It was good. I just am not familiar with their music. I don't know anything about them. The lead singer had a lot of energy. He was running around a lot like, Mick Jagger. Kind of style, similar kind of vibes with his movements on stage. But I always thought it was an interesting choice that Cage was going to be the opener because they're so much more of an indie band than Oasis. But nevertheless, they got a big following. They had a few sing-alongs with the crowd. So there were lots of people there that knew Cage the Elephant songs. So a lot of younger people. There was a group of younger girls about 5 rows in front of me that were singing to a lot of the Cage the Elephant songs. But again, I was in the 300 section. I was there for Oasis. I was very excited. So get there. I'll go into the getting there part after I review the show, in case you just want to hear about the show. Got to my seat, had my food and my drinks and everything, and then was waiting for that 8:45 mark for Oasis to come out. And those of you that are watching this probably already have seen all the clips online, the footage before the show of Oasis, having this, footage on the screen of, this is not a drill. It's showing all the clips of like reunion rumors, the tweets, the social media postings of these two guys that nobody thought were going to be in the same room together. And here they are, 16 years later doing it. It was really nobody thought it was going to happen. The two guys come out, Liam and Noel. They're holding hands. They, pretty much say, to the crowd, like, we're back, here we are. And then they open up like they've done on every other show on the tour. The great opener to What's the Story, Morning Glory, Hello, fantastic opener. It's got that great, refrain of, it's good to be back, it's good to be back. The crowd was singing the whole time. Um, the floor was packed full of people. I had a family next to me that were from the UK that had flown over. There was a guy a couple of rows in front of me who had a shirt from the Dublin show. So they had pilgrimages. People were making pilgrimages to come see these guys. I made a pilgrimage from Virginia up to New Jersey. 6.5 hours to get up there for the show. We don't know if it's going to happen again. We don't know if these guys are going to tour again. We don't know if there's going to be new music. I think there's a documentary in the works, but nothing is set in stone. But again, to hear these songs, to hear Liam and Noel sound so good live, to hear, Acquiescence, with Liam and Noel doing the vocals, with Noel singing the chorus of "Because We Need Each Other." It's a love song, but now it's kind of taking on this new meaning of, you know, these two brothers that need each other and they're their best when they're together. But look at the set list; it hasn't changed the entire tour. I think Noel had an interview, where he pretty much said, it's a great set list. It's a good flow. Why would we switch it up? They did so many of the songs. I mean, they did What's the Story, Morning Glory. Morning Glory, I should say. That was track 3, which is just so killer. Just the sing along of all your dreams are made when you're chained to the mirror and the razor blade. Um, you know that some might say, Stand By Me, Live Forever, The Master Plan, whatever. Uh, Noel had a mini set of just him where he sings songs that he does lead on. Little by Little, which is one of my favorites. And it's just, a fantastic vocal by Noel, who is in his late 50s now. And to hear him sing so well is just, it's so, so good. Um, he did the fantastic, Half the World Away, which might be my favorite Oasis song. Just this beautiful acoustic tune. It's the one Oasis song that I sing live when I play gigs. But to hear that, to hear Cast No Shadow from Liam, to hear, Rock and Roll Star, again, Live Forever, uh, you know, just Roll With It, all of these songs. Do you know what I mean? The opener from, Be Here Now. Just so many great songs. And again, Liam, who was criticized toward the end of Oasis's initial run for having this, his voice was, getting shot, so much, abuse to his voice with drugs and alcohol, and just singing every night at the top of his register, and late nights just destroying his voice. He's honed that in, and he sounds so good, in his early 50s. And like I said, Noel just sounds better than ever. And playing guitar licks. I mean, Noel hasn't been doing guitar licks. He's been playing with his solo project, High Flying Birds, and for the most part, he's playing rhythm guitar. Um, to see original member Bonehead on rhythm guitar with the two guys. So you're getting, 3 of the members of the classic lineup playing, and Andy Bell, Jim Archer, just all of these guys from the Oasis camp coming together and performing as this configuration of Oasis is fantastic. They were sounding tight. The visuals were great. The sound was really good for a stadium that large. It was a little hard to hear what they were saying. Part of it was the Manchester accents, and then just sitting, 1,000 miles up in the sky. It was a beautiful night, high 70s, no rain, no clouds, and then they come out and finish with, Don't Look Back in Anger with, 60,000 people playing, singing together. Wonderwall, Champagne Supernova to close it off with fireworks at the end, and just a really, really, really special concert. I wanted to film every second of it, but I also wanted to soak it all in. Just again, a perfect night of music. And I hope the Gallagher brothers stay together. I hope that there's something more in the works. But if this is it, if this is truly it, and they at least can get along well enough, then they've really gone out with a bang. But yeah, that's my review of the show. A couple of other things. I'm just in my story of getting there. So my wife and I were in New York. We parted New York around 4 o'clock. She was going to visit a family member who lives in the city. I was moving toward New Jersey. When we get there, well, when I get to the bus station, there's issues with, nobody's quite sure which bus to get on. Finally, I'm able to talk to the right people. I get on a bus. The bus driver's like, yeah, I go to the Meadowlands, where MetLife Stadium, which is where the New York Giants and the New York Jets play. They share the field, for those that don't know. And he's like, yeah, I'll drop you off at the stadium, but it's like a 15-minute walk. And so I said, okay, I can do that. Again, it's a pretty day. If it was the rain, I don't know what I would have done. But we are driving to the stadium. We can see the stadium. It's to our left. And then he lets us off in front of this hotel. Me, a father and son, and then two other women. And we're all kind of like stranded because at this point, we're looking at our phones. It's saying it's almost an hour walk to the stadium. So we're like, this bus driver screwed us somehow. So we start walking toward the stadium. We're keeping the stadium on our right at this point. It ends up being, three of these people that I'm walking with end up at this restaurant where there's like an Oasis pregame. At this point, it's like 10 after 6. I'm trying to get to the stadium because I know it's going to be packed. I've got to go through security. I had a small bag that I was carrying in. Had to go through bag check. How to make sure I had to hike 300,000 feet to get to the top of the stadium. We're walking. At this point, it's just me and this one other girl who we're just kind of like, let's just go see what happens. We meet up with another couple that we just happen to start walking with. Turns out we take a couple of right turns. It cuts down our walk to about a 25-minute walk. Finally get inside, walk this bridge over top of the highway or inside of MetLife. And yeah, it was a whole ordeal. That bus driver completely led us astray. So New Jersey Transit Authority, talk to that guy. But yeah, perfect night. Again, hearing those songs, hearing, Don't Look Back in Anger with so many people singing along, hearing Half the World Away, hearing Morning Glory. Again, Stand By Me, Little by Little, all of those songs were just so, so, so good. And yeah, I would love to know your thoughts. I should also say really quick, I got there, the merch lines, as you can imagine, were wrapping around, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people in line for merch. I'm somebody who will not wait more than about 20 minutes in line for merch. And I wanted to get to my seat, and I like to watch the whole concert. I don't like standing in line when the openers are singing. I don't care to do it. But, so I see the merch, I'm like, that's a disappointing. Hopefully I can get a shirt online with the dates on it, blah, blah, blah. There were some bootleg shirts being sold in the parking lots. It wasn't my thing. But I got there, saw the show. They finished about... The Oasis came out at 8:45. The show was over about 10:45. So when I came out of my section into like the main spot where concessions are, merch stand was right there. There were about 10 or 15 people in line. I ran over there, and they were sold out of a few things. Nothing that I really wanted. I did grab this shirt that was there. It has all the dates somewhere on the back. There you go. And was able to grab this shirt. So I'm very happy I got to grab the shirt and not wait more than like 5 or 10 minutes in that line before I headed back to our hotel before we headed out on Monday morning, Labor Day. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Fantastic show. Let me know if you were there. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you were there for night 2. I know a few of you that were there on the first last night. And from what I've seen, every show has just been phenomenal. So really, really cool. Really great to see Liam and Noel Gallagher shake hands, hug, and just sound so, so, so good together. But that does it for me. That's the Oasis recap for you from East Rutherford, New Jersey, August 31st, 2025. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, let me know your Oasis story. And until then, be good, take care. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.